Hello everyone, welcome to a different style of video. I'm going to try not to shake this camera too much because we have a little janky setup. I know you guys can't see it, but it's cords everywhere, plastic tables, microphones hanging over laptops, it's crazy. But yeah, we're bringing you guys an unboxing video like we mentioned in the looking into the future video. So I'm of course Nathaniel and I'm joined off camera by Ashley.
Hi everyone, I'm here.
There she is. So yeah, first thing that we're choosing to unbox / look at with this setup is the Magic Foundations Starter Collection. So the camera that we're using, which is my iPhone, doesn't actually like to focus things up close very well, if you might notice with like my arm, but it does a perfectly good job at a distance. So we're going to try to keep these things at a distance, and anything that's like super small, I'll just try to read to you guys. But let's take a look at what we have here, what the product is. So this is there's a lot of Foundations beginner products that are out there. There's the what they call the beginner box, which is a bunch of basically like 20 card jumpstart boosters that you can sift together and learn how to play Magic. But this is designed towards starting a collection, right? So all of these cards are now legal and standard, which is pretty neat. And they kind of give you a feel for a bunch of different playstyles, is what it's supposed to do. So if we read the back here, it says, everything you need to succeed. Gain an instant collection. This truly outstanding box boasts over 350 cards with essential staples for any color and any way you want to play. Enjoy old and new favorites alike as you build your first or your 50th deck with included tutorials and expert recommendations. So again, the kind of goal of this product, I think, is to start a collection. And while we're not brand new to Magic, Ashley and I are definitely just at the beginning of starting a collection. So I'm excited for this product. I've heard that it's decent, so we're going to tear it open. If we look here, we have our over 350 cards. It does come with 3 Foundations boosters. We're actually not going to be opening those because we are saving those for limited play, but they're 3 traditional boosters. There's nothing special about these, right? So they are the exact same, I mean, not card-wise, obviously, but the exact same 3 that you could pick up from any game store. Then it comes with a storage box, which I actually like because we store our cards by set, so it's nice to have another one for Foundations. And honestly, something I'm a little too excited for, the clicking life wheel. I haven't actually had a product put one of these out since I've been a fan of Magic again, and I'm very excited to own my own. So I'm going to crack into this thing. Ashley, if you can, she's over there for a bunch of reasons. 1, to kind of give her opinions on cards and stuff, but 2, to kind of look up prices. There should be on this app we use called Mana Box, a way to see the price of like the whole collection. It's like under decks. It should be the newest deck if you go there. So go there and then go to Explore, I think is at the top of the page. I'm over here trying to walk her through it, and it should be the very top.
We can honestly show y'all. I mean, this is Mana Box. We use Mana Box constantly.
So there's Mana Box. We can go here under the Explore tab, and it should tell us theoretically. Let's see, you have it sorted by type. So let me.
I do. I sort everything by type.
All right, I will put it back to sort by type, but let me do no group here. $120 is what this estimates it coming into. I don't know if you guys can see that. I don't know if you're going to be able to. That's the best I'm going to try.
Ignore how dirty my screen is. We came from a football game today.
That's
it's dirty.
Fair. That's
it's
totally
gross.
fair.
I'm sorry.
But I have sorted it back to types there. So
okay,
according to that, $120 is what the value of this is going to be. That being said, the way that card values work, we need to keep in mind, right, of course, is that cards are usually valued based on how rare they are, right? At least to some extent. And so as demand goes up, price also goes up. But as supply goes up, price tends to go down. And this is a stet.
It's a stet, y'all. That's the new one. We're using a stet.
This is a set standard collection, right? So as more and more of these sell, the value of the cards are... Wow, this is brutal.
That is really not wanting to open for you, darling.
It's really not.
That is a struggle. Would you like me to try? Oh, P got it. Never mind. I lied.
Had to go against the direction of the arrows here to get it, but...
Oh, good times.
All right.
Thank you.
I don't know if there's one on the top.
There is.
Okay.
The bane of your existence.
Yeah, I mean, genuinely, this is going to be a struggle here, guys.
Y'all get to watch him. Oh,
we're gonna try the other way around again. All right.
Look at that.
Rule of thumb: ignore what life tells you to do. Go against the tide, and it will work for you. All right, so we're gonna open this bad boy up. Very excited for this.
Oh, I've been waiting for this to be open.
Please ignore the entire table shaking a whole lot. We're doing the best we can. All right. Foundations.
Oh, I'm so excited.
All right, so the first thing we have here that I'm going to look at, and we're not going to look through every single card because as we just mentioned, there's 350 plus of them. We're going to do some brief lookings and that sort of thing, but let's see what's in here. So building a deck. There's a welcome section. It talks about the basics of building a deck, so kind of, I guess it walks you through most constructed formats are 60 cards, choose 1 or 2 colors, how many lands you should have, and then it looks like they kind of go over the essential tactics of each color, which I like. Talks about building around synergies, which is pretty cool that they mention that. We've got our mana curve. So this is sort of a extra long version of what you might see in like a pre-release box, just going over, again, in a pre-release box, we see a reference for how to build a pre-release deck, right? How to build a sealed deck. It looks like this just kind of goes over deck building in general. So pretty cool little pamphlet there. I'm going to set that aside. All right, so then we get this nice shiny box, which, as I have mentioned, I'm a little too excited about just this box, and I'm even more excited about the life wheel. So speaking of which...
That's the first thing he's going to start with. He's going to show it to you.
There it is. Oh, my goodness. All right, we got to listen for it. Oh, that's so satisfying. That is so satisfying. I'm going to pass this off to Ashley now, and you guys are probably going to hear it clicking off in the distance. There it goes.
Oh, that is really cool.
It's
we
really
don't use
satisfying.
anything physical to count our life when we're playing
Okay,
together.
so then we have... I'm starting to think we're not going to get a lot of use out of this box because it's pretty full already.
That's okay. That's why you also buy a bundle.
We've got just a little cardboard insert. Nothing crazy there. Then, important here, we have our 3 packs. I want to mention, it comes with 3 packs, but I will not be opening these solely because we're going to use them for limited play. If you don't know what that is, just leave a comment down in the section. I'd be happy to answer it. I'm just not going to get into it too much here. But we won't be opening these until a later time. If you want to know what is opened in them, also leave a comment, and we'll try to like write it down and let you know. All right, so then we get into the meat and potatoes of what we have here. Is that something that people say now still?
Yes, the meat and potatoes.
Cool. All right, so we have...
Dun, 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 dun.
I feel like I'm like trying to tear apart this box.
You are trying to tear apart the box, I feel like. I think that's actually the inside of the box.
Yeah, it is. It's fine. All right, so we have a bunch of dividers, which actually I might find use in sorting cards, so that's pretty cool. I gotta make sure that all of this stays in camera.
Okay, I'll try to help you with that.
All right, so we have a bunch of dividers. Nothing crazy there.
Super helpful.
Pretty cool. Pretty neat. Okay, so then we have a bunch of packs of cards here, right? Which we'll be breaking into these bit by bit. But I do know, that's a pretty decent card. I do know that, that's an even better card. We also get this little tidbit separated of cards. These are also cards that are included in this collection, but I like that they separate them out because these are the 3 cards, I think it's 3, that are not standard legal. And these are in case you want to build a commander deck, which is also Magic's most popular format. So we have a classic Arcane Signet, Sol Ring, and Command Tower, all with the foundations. I don't know how well you guys can make that out, but again, I know the camera's not going to focus.
That's a pretty Sol Ring.
Foundations, set symbol for Commander, which is, these are the only 3 cards that have that set symbol because everything else in Foundations is standard legal. It is, of course, a set that is focused on being standard legal. So, of course, everything in it's going to be standard legal. All right, we're going to see if this inside of the box can come out, and it can. It looks like this is made this way so that you can section these into it.
Oh, that's perfect for how we sort cards.
Which is really cool for sorting out cards here. So I'm actually going to hang on to that and put that back in the box. But that's pretty neat. Oh, there we go. We're throwing things all over the place. That's pretty neat for setting up a bit of a collection there, being able to section things out. All right, so let's just break into these. Eeny, meeny, miny, mountain. We're going to start with that one. And let's take a look. So as I mentioned, I'm not going to spend too long on it. I'm really just going to focus on any rares or mythics that are in here. Mainly because I don't have time, and you guys probably don't either, to watch me go over every single card, including that of like a mountain, right? So
and this is also the stuff that we will give you guys like guess estimated prices on, which might keep in mind the prices will change.
So here we have our full art lands, forests. Well, I guess we have full art lands of mountains and forests, but maybe we'll get into some other stuff later. And then we have just a ton of plains. There's the 2 different designs for the plains. This is a super quick pack we're going through here. All of our islands, the 2 different designs for our islands. All of our swamps, which will continue into this pack. We have all of our swamps here, mountains, forests, and it looks like tokens. is what is in this pack. And then obviously it also comes with these little like how to play cards, which this one focuses on casting spells and then attacking and blocking.
Oh,
Those of you that don't know,
cool.
some of the attacking and blocking rules actually changed with Foundations, so it's really neat that they actually included this little detail. I'm not a huge fan of the change of the rules, but I also don't think it impacts. I play quite a bit of Magic, especially when you consider playing like Commander with Ashley or with other friends, and then on top of that, if I play anything on Arena, and I have yet to actually run into any sort of instance of the new rule coming up even once yet. So I'm not a huge fan of it, but I am not really that against it. Now, what I am curious here, how many lands does it give us of each? I assume they're all the same. So we get 1,
Probably
2,
20?
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16.
Okay.
And then I guess we're probably going to get 2 full arts of the other
really cool.
sets as well. So was that 18?
That's
I think I counted 16.
total.
So probably 18 of each land, which is pretty nice. And then, of course, as we mentioned, a variety of tokens. I do not know if this covers every single token that can be produced by the different cards in the deck, or in the set, I should say. Oh, is this another one?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. What to do on your turn, pretty cool, and then a sample battlefield, so that's pretty
so
neat.
Cool.
All right, one pile done. I didn't think it would be this easy. Okay, so it's just gonna magically get a set off to the side, and Ashley's gonna take care of it.
Also, if you just see my fingers come across randomly, I'm picking up trash.
That's very fair.
I'm a very clean person.
All right, so now we're going to get into some more of the actual cards here, which is where, again, the substance of this video will probably take place. I'm so used to opening these things close to my body, and I'm realizing the camera's over here. So, as I said,
I will try to stop you.
Bear with me. I'm pretty new to making YouTube videos, unboxing videos, etc. All right, so I'm going to actually break these in half.
Okay.
As that's a little bit more manageable. Try to get that off camera for now. All right, so we have Moment of Craving. Target creature gets -2. Gain life. Suspicious Shambler. So these are all different commons. We actually get 2 of the Dragon Fodder here, which just creates some goblins. We have a Death Touch Archer. An Angel. Let's see, this is a 6 cost flying. When this, I know you guys probably can't see that, but I'm going to do my best. Let's see. Gate you control, so we got a gate card. We'd love to see that, I guess. Kithkin spells and soldier spells you cast cost 1 less, so maybe a soldier theme. Power and toughness, number of creatures you control, so that's definitely like a go wide card. Here we have a buffer, right? Someone that can basically, I mean, it's not really an overrun effect, it just +1/+1, but hey, if you have nothing better to do with your mana. Devotee Decree. We have Disenchant, a classic card. You know, I probably have 50 of these or something like that, but it's still good. It's a playable white card, right? Just to destroy an artifact or enchantment. Definitely see it in sideboarding, which is something that not a lot of people are used to. You know, if I'm talking into the camera to all of you guys, and Ashley's probably like, I don't know really what sideboarding is, because I don't know if she's really ever done it. So, do you know what sideboarding is?
Isn't that where you just like put things to the side that you might play later?
Yeah, so all standard decks basically come with a sideboard. You usually make one, which is your cards that you don't run in the deck, but you run as an option to put in, because you're going to play best of 3, right? So you go up against an artifact-heavy deck. You have on your sideboard probably a good couple destroy artifact cards. You won't run all 4 of them in your main deck, because you don't need to.
Yeah.
But then game 2 comes around, and you know you're going up against an artifact deck. Then you might want to sideboard those in.
I consistently forget to do that when I play.
Stasis Snare. Well, to be fair, Commander doesn't come with any, so.
Okay, we play Standard pretty often.
To be fair, neither do starter decks. They don't come with a sideboard either. Right, so I don't think you've really played with the sideboard, is what I'm saying. But in competitive Standard, and realistically, I want to just go ahead and say this, you're not going to be creating any sort of competitive Standard deck with these cards, but you can create the skeleton of one, and then go out and you can use this to figure out what type of deck you might like playing most, and then you can go out and really delve into that style of deck. We've got let's see, Fog Bang, preventing all damage. Vidalcan Rogue, let's see, we've got another gate payoff. Search your library, those are decent. Prowess, I mean, prowess on anything is gonna play decently, although this is a 5 cost, so that's pretty expensive. Unsummon's a classic. Deathmark. Duress, I have or Duress, I don't know how you say it, but I have 40 of these, so, you know, that's a common one. Knight of Malice. Anytime I see Knight, for those of you that don't know, I run a commander deck called Sidar Jabari, and he likes Knight. So if I see Knight, I'm always like, whew. Whenever this creature attacks, each opponent loses 1 life is definitely gonna get played sometimes, because I know white-black has a heavy life gain synergy now because of foundations. Vampiric Rites is a very popular one, right? This is actually a pretty popular commander card. Bolt Bend, interesting.
Oh, interesting.
Crash Through. Dragon Mage. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, each player discards their hand and draws 7. I don't know if that's great. But that's a pretty hefty price, right? If we see a 7 cost in Standard, that's got to be your finisher, you know. K2 Lava Runner is a little more realistic, right? A 1 cost, 1/2 is pretty decent. At least in aggro. Hoarding Dragon. I actually think this might have been a rare at one point. Genuinely. I might have a copy of this that is a rare. So, that's pretty decent. Again, we're kind of looking for our mythics and our rares here, because you can, and I will, actually, if I think about it, and when we're creating the description for this video, I'll try to have Ashley remind me to link the full deck list here, because I won't be spending time on every single card. You guys can go check out all those commons and uncommons, but we're going to be focusing mainly on the rares and mythics here. So speeding through to get to those rares and mythics that I was talking about. We have some good multicolor here. It looks like Mortify's a classic. Savage Ventmaw actually goes hard in Commander in like a dragon deck, because the 6 mana it can give you is really easy to go infinite with. If you have something that can untap it or give you an additional combat phase, then you can just kind of infinitely loop it. Pretty decent. Let's see. All of these are pretty good cards. Definitely worth giving that. I actually don't know if I ever got a 3-tree mascot from Bloomburrow. So Bloomburrow is a set that I kind of missed out on due to a bunch of craziness in both of our lives.
Life got
and
crazy.
Then here we go. We saw all those gate payoffs, and here are the gates themselves. So we are going to get those, which are just, you know, straight tap lands. So that's something to keep in mind. But if you are building gate synergy, they can be decent. We've got some Rabbit Clerics. Wow, they give us 4 of these.
That's cool.
Whenever another creature enters, you gain 1 life is actually pretty solid. We've got a full art. I will pay attention to this. Full art Ajani's Pridemate is really good. Ajani's Pridemate and Healer's Hawk went hard in something. I forget what it was. I don't know if it was a Pro Tour or what it was. But essentially, this gets a +1/+1 counter on it whenever you gain life. Healer's Hawk is a 1-cost flying lifelink for 1/1. And that goes about as hard as it sounds like it would. So
absolutely,
that's pretty neat. Refute is a bit of a classic, but again, we're seeing the full art there. Vengeful Blood Witch. I actually don't know what this one does. Whenever this creature or another creature you control dies. Oh, okay. So this is a normal Foundations card. We're just getting to see the full art versions of them. A Braid, which of course is a reprint. Reclamation Sage is a classic elf artifact or enchantment
I absolutely
removal.
love that card.
And honestly, I'm loving the full art on the Swiftfoot boots here. This is kind of your, you know, wannabe
Lightning Greaves.
Lightning Greaves, thank
My
you.
favorite
This is
card.
why we keep her around.
Wow, thank you. I feel loved.
We keep her around for other reasons. And here we get our other full art lands. So we have the plains, we have our islands, and then we have our swamps. Pretty cool stuff. All right, so moving on, we've got 2 more packs of these left, but of course we're going to spend a little bit longer on these because I think these should have some of our rares in them.
Which is where we start looking at prices, which means Ashley has to type a lot of things, and I'm not a very fast typer.
To an extent. If I remember, I still didn't open it on camera, but it's fine. If I remember, without too much trouble, I'll give you kind of my estimated price on things.
Okay, cool.
Really only if I read something that I'm like, that sounds crazy. And even then, I want to reiterate, these are not random what you get from these packs, right? So the more that people open these starter collections, the lower the price on these cards is going to be. Purely because I think all of this might be rares, honestly. I mean, it looks like it might be. So I just want to reiterate, you know, this is a stack of 100-something cards. If it's only $120 for the whole thing, these aren't going to be $20 a pop. Consuming Aberration, a great example. This is a great card. I have a horror-themed commander deck that this goes in really wonderful. Now, I'm not your expert on Standard, so this is not going to be a great video if you're, like, hardcore trying to get into Standard. Although I'd love to someday, but I'm really just kind of taking this from our own perspective of things. Great card. Works super well in the Baldur's Gate horror deck. It's already in there, but not worth much. I know that's not worth much.
A total of 33 cents.
Angelic Destiny. Enchant creature. It gets +4/+4. Has flying, first strike, and is an angel. This comes in the enchantment deck from Wilds of Eldraine. It's a decent card. When it dies, you get to return this to your hand, so it's kind of replayable in that sense. Probably not worth a lot either. I would guess maybe 60 cents.
98 cents.
I was close. Charming Prince. Let's see. We've got when this enters, choose one, 2/2 for 1 and a white. Scry 2, gain 3 life, or exile another target creature you own, and then return it. Right. So this is really not going to be a great. This is really not a great card. You know, I mean, it's a 2/2 for 2 that lets you scry 2, gain 3 life, or exile another creature. Now it is when it enters. So theoretically, based on that bottom ability, this is going in like a blink deck, but it's not that great. What, 12 cents?
74.
74. Crazy. All right, Feldar Retreat. We've all seen it. We all love it.
One.
If you haven't, that's okay. But it's basically, you know, whenever your land enter, you're either making 2/2 white cats or you're putting +1/+1s on all your creatures. It's an enchantment, of course. This is in like almost every commander precon that has white, it feels like, because, you know, you're going to play lands. $1?
82 cents.
I was close.
You were.
Fumigate, destroy all creatures. You gain 1 life for each creature destroyed this way. It's really just... what is that spell that destroys all creatures? It's actually in the... It's in the Foundations pack. It's white. I think it's 2 and 2 white. I think it's 1 cheaper, but it's basically just that, except you actually get to gain life for each creature destroyed. Day of Judgment, maybe? Might be the name of that card.
I think that's what it is.
Day of Judgment. Anyways, this is slightly more expensive, but you get some life off of it, I think is the difference between the two. Probably like 40 cents.
29.
29.
You're getting closer each time.
Linden the Steadfast Queen. That is Linden for those of us that are looking it up.
Thank you.
Vigilance 3/3. Whenever a white creature you control attacks, you gain 1 life. Now, see, that's pretty decent if you're just like a go wide white strategy, but it's really specific. So, you know, I mean, this could be a great commander, honestly, for a go wide white deck, right? It doesn't make the tokens, but it definitely gives you a payoff for them. So, you know, there's that. But yeah, 32 cents.
28 cents.
I got real close on that one.
Oh, yeah.
Mentor of the Meek is a classic. This one's a pay 1 when a creature of power 2 or less enters and you can draw a card. Another great for like token decks that make small tokens. Or if you just have small creatures in general. But I don't think he's worth a lot. 40 cents.
15. He is in a lot of decks.
Wow. Yeah, I guess he just gets a lot of prints.
Common.
Now here we have Regal Caracol? I don't know.
Interesting. I'm just gonna
Other
search
cats
Google.
you control get +1/+1 and have lifelink. When this creature enters, create 2 1/1 white cat creature tokens with lifelink. So this is basically just good in cat tribal, right? It's really not going to do good in anything else. It's not legendary, so you can't run it as the commander, but it is great in cat tribal. That's really specific, though. 28 cents.
66.
Okay. Zetalpa. Zetalpa.
I'm just going to search Z and see it comes up.
Zet. Z-E-T.
Great, thank you.
Zetalpa Primal Dawn. This is a classic 8-drop dinosaur with flying, double strike, vigilance, trample, and indestructible. It's huge. It's effective. It's got a lot of words on it. It's not worth much. 12 cents.
18. You're almost there.
I actually have an Arcanus, the Omnipotent. This guy lets you tap to draw cards, which is really powerful, right? He's a 6-drop 3/4, which you're like, oh, that's not that powerful. The reason he's powerful is because he taps for drawing 3 cards, right? So especially in Commander and stuff like that, this is very powerful. And then, of course, drawing cards is powerful in really any format, but if you build a deck around drawing cards, he just gets even more powerful, and that's kind of what blue does. I don't remember him being worth a lot. I'm going to say 35 cents.
27.
I'm getting pretty accurate with these.
You are.
Oh, Dictative Crewfix. Flash. At the beginning of each player's draw step, that player draws an additional card. Seems decent. It's each player's draw step, actually. This seems kind of annoying. I would say 25 cents.
99 cents. Nearly $1.
99? Wow. I mean, it's really just, what is that? Like a Phyrexian Arena without the life loss, but for everyone?
Yeah.
Finale of Revelation. I know this is a pretty powerful one. You know, it's one of those that can kind of end games. I'm going to say a $1.50. Might be one of the more expensive cards in here.
No, it's 23 cents.
Wow, okay. So there's a whole cycle of the finale cards, so this is obviously not the most expensive one. But yeah, pretty decent. I've had some fun games with that where you can draw just a ton of cards off of it because you have a bunch of mana. Usually Commander again. Those aren't really... I'm not going to have a great ton of perspectives from a standard way of looking at things, as I mentioned before, because I just haven't done that a lot. All right, let's try to move through these a little bit faster. Harbinger of the Tides. May cast this card as though it had flash. If you pay 2 more to cast it, when this card enters, you may return target attack creature an opponent controls to its owner's hand. Yeah, that doesn't seem great. It's okay in Merfolk, but 20 cents maybe.
25 cents.
River's Rebuke. Return all non-land permanent target player controls to their owner's hand, right? So this is great if you know you're going to be playing one-on-one, basically. It's really just it's really just a Cyclonic Rift, but for one-on-one. And so because of that, it's probably decent, but I'm going to say 23 cents.
31 cents.
Sphinx of the Final Word. This spell can't be countered. Flying, hexproof, and instants and sorcery spells you control can't be countered. Now, can't be countered things are really powerful. Again, especially in Commander. Usually by the time you're dropping a 7-drop in Standard, you better have that game over pretty soon. But in Commander, that's not always the case. So I'm going to say this is decent. I'm going to say $1.70.
38 cents.
Wow. Let me down. Let me
I know.
down. Tempest Djinn, flying. This creature gets +1/+0 for each basic island you control, and it's a 3 cost of blue. I'm gonna say like 12 cents. This doesn't seem great to me, but it's really good in mono blue. At least it's decent.
23 cents.
We have Voracious Great Shark. I actually was reading this one the other day. It's a 5-drop, 5/4 that when you flash it in, you get to counter target artifact or creature spell. Now, it's not just a counter in general, so I'm gonna, 25 cents, something
16 cents.
Great. Demonic Pact. At the beginning of upkeep, choose one that hasn't been chosen. Now, this one's really interesting, right? Because this enchantment deals 4 damage to any target, and you gain 4 life. Target opponent discards 2 cards, draw 2 cards, and then you lose the game. This has a really interesting ability in the sense that if you get it down to its last ability, you lose the game, and you can give it to somebody else. It can actually win you the game, right? Because they don't have another option if you've chosen the other 3. It's really specific, but it is technically a combo, if you will, that is now in Standard. I forget the name of the red card that lets you just give an enchantment to someone, but I think it's just a permanent, honestly. But it does combo with that. I'm going to say 20 cents.
It's actually $1.41.
Okay. I guess that's probably the mythic part of it, right? Because it didn't get printed as much.
Yes.
But. Desecration Demon, flying. At the beginning of combat, any opponent may sacrifice a creature of their choice. If a player does, tap this creature and put a +1/+1 counter on it. May sacrifice... Whoa, what? So we have a flying 6/6. At the beginning of each combat, any opponent may sacrifice a creature of their choice. If the player does, tap this... Oh, okay, so they can stop it from attacking. That's what's happening here. It's a 4-drop 6/6 that they can stop it from attacking, but it gets bigger as they do. That's interesting. That's probably not great, so I'm going to say 20 cents.
26.
It's close. Oh, buddy, this is going to take a while. We might have to just...
Maybe we just do
mythics? I don't know.
Maybe just mythics.
Or cards that, like, stand out to me.
Yeah, either way. I'm
Dread
happy to do
Summons.
whatever.
We've got some Million Zombie Creation. Calastria Highborn. Vampire stuff going on. Midnight Reaper's not expensive, but he's a classic, right? Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, it deals damage to you, but you draw a card. I've not heard this one before. Myojin of Night's Reach. It's a big old spirit, and by big old, I don't mean power and toughness. It's got an 8 cost on it, though. When it enters with a divinity counter on it, if you cast it from your hand, has indestructible as long as it has a divinity counter on it. Remove a divinity counter from it, each opponent discards their hand.
Okay, wow.
I mean, that's not bad. That's not
Not at
bad.
all.
That's pretty solid. I don't hate that one. Null Priest of Oblivion. We got some lifelink menacing stuff going on here. Wishclaw Talisman. Ball Lightning I've heard before. Let's see, this is the, so it's like a 3-cost trample haste, right? So really it's almost like an instant or sorcery spell that does direct damage, but it's in the form of a creature, so it's a 6/1 with trample and haste, so the turn you play it, it can attack.
Absolutely.
And it's really just there to do damage. At the beginning of the end step, you have to sacrifice it too, so it's really just do the damage, right? But it works a little bit in combos with creatures. Dragon Master Outcast is a classic in Dragon decks, right? Because it's a 1-drop, 1/1, but then if you have 6 or more lands, every turn it starts creating a 5/5 dragon. So that's pretty solid. It's a mythic. Here we go. This is exactly what I was talking about. Harmless Offering. Target opponent gains control of target permanent you control. Right? So this works with that black enchantment from earlier. I don't remember the... Demonic Pact was the name of it. This works with that, and you can give them the Demonic Pact when the only option left is choose, you lose the game, and now they lose the game. Lathless Dragon Queen has gone down quite a bit, but I know she was worth a good bit because she was one of my more expensive cards before this starter collection came out, so screw you, starter collection, right? No, not really. I am very happy that...
It's still $2.42.
Still $2.42. Okay, so well, that's what I meant. This was like $8 or $9, I think.
Okay.
When I had it before, so it's dropped a good bit, and expect it to drop more. Again, people are going to keep buying these things. There's going to be more of these cards in circulation, but that's okay. Redcap Gutter Dweller is a pretty decent card that I have. It makes a bunch of rat tokens essentially. Okay. It's a goblin. Stormkirk Noble. Let's see, we've got this creature can't be blocked by humans. That's oddly specific. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Yeah, that's not great, honestly. It's a very cheap 1-drop, though, in red, which usually likes to be aggressive. Torian Mauler, Changeling. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, you may put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. Is decent. It's probably especially good in Commander because you have 3 times the opponent's casting spells, right? Hero's Bane, this is a Hydra, so Ashley's probably losing it. She likes her Hydras. Not as much as she likes her oozes, but she likes her Hydras.
No, y'all, if there's an ooze in here, I'm taking it.
This creature enters with 4 +1/+1 counters on it. That's alright. And then we have pay 4, put X +1/+1 counters on it, where X is its power. Okay, so it comes in with 4. If you haven't doubled that, then when you pay this, it gets 4 more. But then after that, it starts getting 8, 16. That's pretty decent. It's kind of a doubling effect on its own, like just for itself. That's pretty decent. I don't hate that. Speaking of it, Predator Ooze. Indestructible 1/1. Whenever it attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Whenever a creature dealt damage by this dies, put a +1/+1 counter on it. So this is just an indestructible ooze that gets bigger and bigger and bigger. That's what it does. Primal Might's a nice card. I got a copy of this. It's not too expensive, I don't think, but it's a fun buff up your creature for turn, basically sorcery. It gets +X until end of turn. It costs X and a green, and then it fights target creature you don't control. So it kind of doubles as a buff spell and a removal spell. I don't hate it. Primeval Bounty is a pretty popular one. Whenever you cast a creature spell, create a 3/3 green beast. This works really well in like super cheap creature decks, but again, it's a 6-cost enchantment, so you gotta be really careful with those things. Rampaging Baloths is pretty good. It's a landfall trigger. I do not know what Surak the Hunt Caller. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if creatures you control have total power 8 or greater, not hard to do, target creature you control gains haste until end of turn. That's not great. That's really not great. We don't want haste that badly. Vizier of the Menagerie. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. Great. You may cast creature spells from the top of your library. Great. You can spend mana of any type to cast creature spells. Pretty great, honestly. I like that guy. Wildborn Preserver is an elf archer that can enter pretty big, I think. No, it can get big when you cast non-human spells. Not great, though. Not great. Aurelia Warleader is one of our mythics. We have a Flying Vigilance Haste. Whenever it attacks for the first time each turn, untap all creatures you control and get an additional combat phase. That's pretty solid. Getting additional combat phases is almost always something we want to do. Ailey Eternal Pilgrim. I have not read this one either. Death Touch 2/3 for 2, a white and a black. Pay 1, sack another creature, you gain life equal to its toughness. That's gotta have some sort of infinite combo with it, realistically. Although the pay 1 might make it not as infinite. Pay 3, sacrifice another creature, exile target non-land permanent, activate only if you have at least 10 life more than your starting life total. So these that are printed, they used to, a lot of cards used to be printed with a certain life you had to be at, but then Commander kind of ruined those cards because you usually start at that life. So now they say more than your starting life, right? Drogskull Reaver is a really good spirit. I actually have a spirit commander deck that if I ever upgrade, this is going to be going in it pretty quickly. It's just a big old guy, right? Flying, double strike, lifelink, and whenever you gain life, draw a card is pretty solid. Okay, we're barely even halfway through that, so again, going to try to speed up the here. Helena does some pretty cool red-green things. We've got a vampire dragon here. that I don't think is too crazy. Maelstrom Pulse is destroy target non-land permanent, and all other permanents with the same name. That's oddly specific, but I feel like that's obviously
targeted.
That's obviously way more effective in standard than it is in something like Commander. So Ovika, interesting. We've got flying 6/6, ward 3, and pay 3 life. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create X/1/1 red Phyrexian Goblin creature tokens, where X is that spell's mana value. Okay, so this is just blue-red. Is it cast a lot of spells? Could run as a commander though. Prime Speaker Zagana, or Zagana. I don't know exactly how you say it, but this is printed in Foundations right now, if I'm not mistaken. It's a pretty good card. Wiltleaf Liege is good old Celestia, so Ashley's probably losing it over
my favorite.
Green creatures get +1/+1. White creatures get +1/+1. And then if a spell or ability an opponent controls causes you to discard this card, put it onto the battlefield instead of putting it into your graveyard. It's just cute. Basilisk Collar is a classic. You can equip to give a creature Death Touch and Lifelink. Very powerful in a lot of decks. Cultivator's Caravan, you're adding mana and crewing. That's interesting. Darksteel Colossus is one of the big ones here. 11 drop. I know, it's huge. Trample, indestructible, but if it would be put into a graveyard from anywhere, reveal it and shuffle it into your library instead is pretty decent as well.
That one is coming in at $3.11.
Yeah, this might be the most expensive one in the actual whole thing here. So Darksteel Colossus is a big boy. There's one that comes in that's more expensive, but that is just because of an art of a card that I know is in the deck. So, or not in the deck, but in this. Macemine Tome does some card drawing things. Pyromancer's Goggles is a bit of a mana artifact, but let's see. When that mana is spent to cast a red instant or sorcery spell, you get to copy it, which is pretty neat. Ramos, okay, this was actually a pretty expensive card too until it got reprinted. It's an artifact dragon that you can remove 5 counters from him, and you get double Wooburg, basically, that you can spend during that turn. Steel Hellkite is a pretty decent. It's a rather specific removal spell because you have to pay the exact amount, and you destroy each non-land permanent with mana value of that amount. So sometimes it can kind of burn you a little bit, I think. Yeah, sometimes it can burn you a little bit. Oh, wait, no. Whose controller was dealt damage by this creature? Alright, so you just have to get him through. He's flying, so that's a little bit easier said than done. Alright, this is what I wanted to see. We got some rare lands here. I get to go through these pretty quickly. We've got our Scry lands. Those are always nice. I love that they included these here then. Tatiova is a great uncommon, so I'm literally going to spend time talking about her because she's worth it. Burnished Heart, Heraldic Banner, Meteor Golem. We've got our gain lands. So these are the enter and gain life. Evolving Wilds into more gain lands. Rogue's Passage is a classic. You can get more creatures through, or you can get a creature through. Pay 5, really 4, and then you tap this, so kind of 5. And target creature can't be blocked. More of our gain lands and all of our color combos, because there are those for every single color combo, so there's 10 different color combos, right? Inspiring Overseer is when this creature enters, you gain 1 life and you draw a card, is pretty decent, especially in a blink deck. And then some more of our commons. Opt is a classic, so they're going to give us 4 of these, right? This is a just pay 1, scry, and then draw a card. And boom! Well, that was nice. It's nice that that ended that way. All right, we're on to our last pack. We're almost through this, but so far I would say that, let's see, I think retail this goes for about $60. I'm not 100% sure.
I will check that.
I'm not sure the exact, because there is MSRP now. Wizards of the Coast has decided to reinstate MSRP. I think I paid around 65. We'll get to that in a second, but I think I paid about $65 for it. Still happy with that because I wanted to make this video for you guys, and I also just wanted to have these for my collection. So, all right. Now, one of the best cards in here, I'm already seeing some uncommons that we're going to be getting to. So, one of the best cards in here is Lyra Dawnbringer. It's a classic. It's nice and foiled for us here. Flying 5/5 angel for 3 and 2 white with first strike, lifelink, and other angels you control get +1/+1 and have lifelink. So she's an angel deck and even an angel commander if you want to build her that way. Rite of Replication is a classic. It is basically create a token that's a copy of target creature, and then you can kick it, And if you do kick it, which costs a lot, right? It's already a 4 cost and the kicker is 5. But if you happen to have this when you can pay 9 for it, you just get to make 5 of those tokens instead. So, pick your best creature and make 5 of them is pretty powerful. Massacre Worm is a classic removal, or at least kind of board wipe effect, right? Because it gives -2/-2 to all creatures your opponents control when it enters. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, that player loses 2 life is also really powerful because, of course, it triggers off itself. So if you can wipe out a token player with this, it might kill them. Gratuitous Violence. If a creature you control would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals double that damage instead, is a classic just kind of damage doubling effect here. And then we have the good old Gigantosaurus. I don't even think it's that good of a card. 5 green pips for a 10/10 is just not as good as it really needs to be. If you guys don't know, there's a 3 and 3 green pip common card in Foundations that is a 12/8 dinosaur. So it's really the same amount of stats, just distributed a little bit differently. It costs 1 more, but it only costs 3 green pips and then 3 generic. I honestly think it's more powerful than this, and it's printed at, no, I think I said common, it's printed at uncommon. But we do have this art for Gigantosaurus. Made this card like $8 the last time I looked it up.
It is currently sitting at $6.45.
It is currently at $6.45, so we're going to carefully set that to the side.
Absolutely. Also, the starter collection currently is retailing for somewhere between $54 and about $60.
Okay, so it looks like, depending on where you are, you're going to find it between $50 and $60. I think I paid slight upcharge of that, but I also ordered it off of Amazon and had a gift card. So really, did I pay? Yes, I did. That's the answer. But the gift card took off like $20, so it felt like $45 or like 15. I forget what it was. Doesn't really matter. All right, Adaptive Automation. This is let's see, you can choose a creature type. This creature is the chosen type, and then other creatures you control get +1/+1, right? So this is the Lord for decks that don't have Lords, right? You want to build a horses deck, looking at you, Trenton, if you ever watch this. This can be your horse Lord. Doesn't look like a horse at all. Gilded Lotus is a classic expensive mana rock. Maze's End? Let's see, we can return Gates. All right, so this is our Gate payoff land. Angel of Vitality is a classic, but is, of course, an uncommon. So we're getting into some of our more uncommons here, although they are giving us the foil treatment on these ones. Confiscate is decent. You get to just control someone's permanent, right? So they play something big, you get to go, that's mine now. It's a little dependent on them playing decent cards, right? So not great. Countering target creature spell and negate. Feed the Swarm is something that I think Ashley's heard a little too much in our Commander games against each other. It's a good old classic destroy creature or enchantment card. The downside, you have to pay life or you lose life equal to its mana value.
The number of times that card has been played against me makes me want to rip it in half.
It is
like I'm about to go take it out of every single deck that it's ever been in.
I am predominantly a pre-con player when it comes to Commander. In fact, I think that's all I have.
I think it's all
so I'm basically only, not even basically, I am only at this current moment a pre-con player, and I don't really even upgrade them at the current moment. So all the ones that come with it have it in it. Gatekeeper of Malakir. Gutter Snipe is a classic payoff for instants and sorceries. Impact Tremors is a classic payoff for like a bunch of tokens. Think like goblins, because it does damage anytime that a creature enters, right? So if you have Krenko out, you tap him while you have 10 goblins. He's going to make 10 goblins, and this is going to do 10 damage to each opponent because 10 goblins entered. And then if they can't kill it by next turn, when he makes 20 goblins, it's going to do 20 damage to each opponent. You see how quickly they die. Krenko's broken. Krenko got reprinted in this. Krenko got reprinted in this set. Let's see. Elf payoff. Palaka Worm looks like it's really just a good green big creature. Boros Charm is a classic. Unflinching Courage, enchanted creature gets trample and lifelink is okay. Expedition Map. Hedron Archive is an okay mana rock. Cat Collector goes hard from the new Foundation set. Divine Resilience is an infinite thing. Jouster's okay. I haven't really found it doing too much for me. Twinblade Blessing can be decent, but I haven't really been running it much. Klinquant, I don't know how you're supposed to pronounce that one.
Who knows?
Sky Mage is a really decent card. This is exactly what I was talking about earlier with the blue wanting card draw payoffs. It's a 1/1 flyer for 4, but it gets bigger every time you draw a card. Faebloom Trick is a classic. I love that I'm getting some Mischievous Mystics here because they're pretty decent. Arbiter of Woe's okay, especially if you have Sacrifice Fodder. Oh wait, what's a great Sacrifice Fodder? Infestation Sage. So I'm going to know all of these cards because these are the cards that are actually from Foundations, right? And the reason that they're giving us so many of these cards that are from Foundations is because Foundations is going to be in Standard for the next 5 years, right? So if we want to build a starter collection that people can really use in Standard for a while, they should be getting some of these Foundation cards. I also wonder, I'm curious, I don't think if we're going to have the answer to this, but I wonder if Foundations is going to be sold in game stores and printed by Wizards of the Coast more because it's going to be Standard for so long, right? Like, you feel like that would be true.
Well, I mean, typically we see each set be printed just for a certain period of time, and then by the time the next set comes around, they're no longer printing it.
Yeah, or, well, it's not that they're no longer printing it, but they stop printing, usually, I think, 2 or 3 sets later, something like that, is when they truly stop, like, even making packs at all. And that's just, like, if this is going to be in Standard for 5 years, then at least 3 or 4 years from now, they need to still be printing it, right? Like, because someone could be getting into Magic. So we'll be seeing Foundations as, like, the beginner starter packs, if you will.
For hopefully the next 5 years.
Intro packs in game stores for the next 5 years. Vengeful Blood Witch is a classic, almost... oh, what's that card called? You guys are going to call me out in the comments. It's the... Whenever a creature dies, you gain a life and an opponent loses a life. It's just, this one is only your creatures. There's one for all creatures, and it's really expensive. Blood Artist, that's the name. I got there. Don't be mad at me. Crackling Cyclops is okay, but only in, like, a caster deck. Goblin Negotiation, Strongbox Raider. These are, again, all cards from Foundations. All right, last little bit here that I have to imagine at least a good portion of it's going to be more of our Foundations cards. Elvish Regrower is a bomb. Quake Strider Ceratops is the exact card I was talking about. Yes. 12-8 for 6, only 3 of which are green pips. Dreadwing Scavenger is pretty cool. Panda's decent. Performing Artist is okay. Warden's the Cycle is some morbid payoff. I haven't really done anything with Ravenous Amulet, so yeah. There's our Johnny's Pride Mate. We already have one of these with the full art, which looked sick. It looks a lot cooler than this one. I think the full art looks really nice. Angel of Finality gets rid of some graveyards. Resolute Savannah Lions is boring. Okay, it's a 1-drop. It's a 1-cost 2/1. That's it. It should not be uncommon. I stand by that. Stroke of Midnight is okay, but I really, really hesitate to give my opponents a 1/1 when I'm removing their things because I can still chump block, right? Like, yeah. Brineborn Cutthroat is pretty decent, especially if you're going to be casting on other people's turns. Essence Scatter is our counter-target creature spell. We've got our making, instant sorceries cheaper, draw a card with a cheap flyer. Think Twice is just a rather cheap draw a card with a flashback to draw another card. Tolarian Terror is our instant sorcery payoff, so big creature you can cast for cheap if you've cast a lot of instant or sorceries. Wit Pro, or Witness Protection, I guess I shouldn't use nicknames here, is really powerful. I've seen this really pop off in Limited. I play a decent amount of Limited. This thing's annoying. It's really annoying.
It's used against him a lot. It's really funny to see his reaction.
Exsanguinate is not a playable card. It might be in Commander. I don't think it is in Limited or Standard. Hero's Downfall definitely is. A 3-cost, just destroy target creature or planeswalker, is at the very least playable in Commander. It's not great, but it's not bad. And then, of course, we have some of our life gain payoffs that we talked about. There is a card. I completely forget the name of it. I always forget the name of it, but it is a Exquisite Blood on a creature. And it is...
Bloodthirsty Conqueror.
Bloodthirsty Conqueror. She is way better at these names than I am.
That one took a while, y'all. That one... We've been going back and forth about what it is for weeks.
That's fair. Bloodthirsty Conqueror is a great card, and it is, of course, now Standard legal. So something like this, whenever you gain life, each opponent loses life. There's your... on a card. Right there. Oh, yeah. Is your infinite combo. Death. This is a common. Now, that is a mythic, so you have to pull the mythic, or you have to buy it for like $30. But, Vampire Nighthawk, Zombify. But if you do, you have that infinite combo, or if you're looking to build the deck, you're going to have to buy it, and it is cool to see. It's both simultaneously cool and a little unnerving that there's like 7 or 8 infinite combos in Standard now.
Yeah,
absolutely. It's just like, there's really not going to be a truly casual format, or I guess if there is, it's Commander.
That you're not worried about,
or it's casually playing starter kits with each other. Burst Lightning's a pretty decent removal. Heartfire Immolator gets a little bit bigger. You're never going to play Hitsuku's second rule. This card's stupid. Basically says, for 4 mana, do exactly 10 damage to someone if, and only if, they're at 10 life.
Oh, that's so dumb.
Yeah. I have seen someone, if you guys want to check him out on YouTube, his name's Numat the Nummy. He's a really good drafter. He did die to this card, which is really funny, because it's just not something that's really ever going to happen. So it was funny to watch it happen, but you're never going to really run it. I don't know. Someone please in the comments, if you're watching this, what the heck is Seismic Rupture useful for? Because Ashley made the mistake of running this in a limited deck.
I did.
And it was truly just a dud. It does nothing.
It doesn't. It's horrible. I hate it.
Maybe it's what, like, counter, it's 2 damage to each creature without flying, so it's what, maybe it's counter Heir Apparent.
Truly, I mean, also, it could just be a great way to, if your deck is all flying, and you're playing, like, white-red, which is extreme aggro.
Yeah.
And you just have all flyers, and then you're playing as something that has reach.
Yeah. My biggest thing
that might be the easiest thing, because then you're going to kill everything that has reach, and odds are your flyers might still be alive. But that's so specific, it just doesn't really make sense. Because if you play it, you're going to be killing your own creatures as well.
I mean, they can't really deal 2 damage to each creature without flying. Or sorry, without flying. On a white or blue card. But white or blue was the flying theme for Foundation.
Exactly.
So it feels like it should have been on that, right?
Absolutely. Like, I don't understand. Like, I understand that we have a lot of white angels. Now, we've seen a lot of those. You and I tend to play those all the time when we're drafting.
That's decent.
But it doesn't make a lot of sense. Someone tell us what we're supposed to do with that card, because it sucks.
Bite Down's pretty good. Broken Wings is, of course, great example of a sideboard card, right?
Yes.
Destroy artifact, enchantment, or creature with flying, so you throw 4 of these into a sideboard. Although you probably wouldn't choose this one, right? There's better ones from, like, Bloomburrow. If you remember the card, I don't know the name of it, that had, like, the rabbit archer on it that could, like, draw a card, or it could destroy a target enchantment or artifact, I think is what it does. Those are really decent sideboard cards. But Broken Wings works as well.
It does.
Bushwhack's decent. Dwynen's Elite is, of course, only really played in Elves. Garruk's Uprising, I don't think this does as good in Standard as it does in Commander, but this is a great Commander enchantment. Again, you just want to be drawing cards all day in Commander, so this lets you do it.
From experience, it does not do well in Standard or Limited. It does not help.
It can help in Limited, but it has to be a very specific deck.
It's rough. Giant
Growth is alright. Land War Elves is a classic, and I love to see that they give you 4 of them here. That's awesome. It's just, I mean, that's a playset, right? You're never going to need more than 4. Sure, if you build multiple decks, you might like more than 4, but you technically never need it, right? Because you could go transfer them from your other decks whenever you need to. So, full playset of Land War Elves is nice. It's not expensive, but it is nice. Alright, Overrun is decent. Snakeskin Veil is a classic. Wildwood Scourge is a Hydra, so naturally Ashley loves it.
It's so cute.
It is pretty decent. I love Empyrean Eagle. I just love him so much. We have Heroic Reinforcements, which is so good in just Boros speed run, essentially, right? Boros aggro, and they're dead quickly. And then we're going to
always put that in a deck. I made the mistake of not putting it in a deck. I should have put it in.
Ruby Daring Tracker, a classic 1/2 for 2 that can tap for mana, and then later in the game she gets bigger, and she has haste, so she can tap for mana the turn that she comes out. She really only spent 1 of those colors to bring her out. Great card. Great card. Absolutely, like, slam dunk in, I think it was Wilds of Eldraine that card came out.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to end the video here in just a moment, but before we do that, I just kind of wanted to cover some general thoughts. So, Ashley, why don't you go first? What do you think, having not looked through all the cards there, only hearing what I said?
Honestly, I'm really excited. We are working on building a collection. I'm very new to Magic. I've been playing since August, and that's not that long ago. So I'm very excited about a lot of these cards. I also just love Foundations. I'm absolutely in love with the set. I will never get over Foundations. It's one of my favorite things. Realistically, I'm just excited. There's so many different cards, and there's, like, cards like we haven't necessarily seen in drafting, physically, or on Arena.
Yeah.
But there's also a lot of cards that we have seen. So, like, as you start to play the set more, highly recommend using Arena. It's great.
Yes.
Because it's a good free way to play. You just start to see a lot of things. So, like, even just hearing them, like, I'm starting to, like, recognize a lot more of the cards, and I'm just excited about the fact that we can take this, we can build standard decks to play against each other. I'm just very excited for a lot of the cards that are in this set. Like, I think this is a great set. Like, Wizards of the Coast really popped off with this one, honestly.
Yeah. I think my opinion on the matter comes from a couple different perspectives. So, one, if you're absolutely, completely, 100% brand new to Magic, I suggest downloading Arena and trying that first before you buy
Absolutely.
anything. If you already know that you kind of like it, or you've tried it, or a buddy's shown it to you and you want to get into the cards physically, but you've never done anything at all ever before, I haven't bought it, but I would suggest the beginner box. I've heard great things about it. I personally haven't bought it because it's basically just Jumpstart, and I already spent a lot of money on the actual Jumpstart packs. Now, I think right past that, where you are still new to Magic, but you already know how to play, you might have a couple cards, but you aren't settled into anything yet, I think that's where this absolutely shines. This is the perfect product. That's the word I was looking for.
There you go.
For you guys, if that is where you are, right? If you know that you love Magic, you want to get into it, you want to get into Standard, you want to maybe look into Commander, all sorts of things, but you're not really sure where you sit yet. This is a great product to just get a collection going, a starter collection box. I think they named it pretty perfectly. Mm-hmm. That being said, if you're already settled in and you know things about Magic and you have a bit of a collection, you've already got a good number of cards under you, maybe you already have a Standard deck, you already have a Commander deck, I would definitely take a look at the deck list first and just decide for yourself if the cards that are going to come with it are worth it, right? Now, of course, you can always factor in the fact that if you were going to pick up 3 packs anyways, 3 packs come in here, so those retail at about $5. If you were going to pick them up anyways, you can probably look at this as about $15 cheaper than what it actually is, right? Because you can go, what's the word I'm looking for? You can choose not to. That's not the word I'm looking for, but you can choose not to buy those 3 packs and instead buy this and look at it as about $15 cheaper than what it is because you are going to get those 3 packs. Other than that, I think if you are diehard, already have a really big collection, this really isn't going to do anything crazy for you. These cards are only going to go down in value, and I do not recommend buying this box for the value of the cards, right? I recommend buying it for having a good collection. I think for me personally, I probably would not have bought this collection, or at least would not have felt very great in buying it, wouldn't have felt like it was a great product for me if I wasn't starting a collection with Ashley, who hasn't settled into a playstyle. She doesn't really know what she loves. She does like Celestia, she does like Oozes and Hydras and those sorts of things, but she also went up against a Dimir deck the other day and actually thought it was pretty cool. And wanted to maybe give it a shot at some point. So she's not really settled in, so getting all of these cards as different options is really nice. And I will say, even if you are into Magic, but you haven't really started collecting cards, getting this and just getting a good number of the Foundations cards is really good, because they're going to be in Standard for a long time. All right, well, that's how I feel about it. And let's see. Final opinion on the matter, if you had to rate it out of 10, what are you giving it, Ashley?
Honestly, because it is for just people who are in a kind of a different place than I feel like where we are. I think it's for a very specific set of people. Mm-hmm. So I would probably give it, this is hard, I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
Just because it's not for people who already have a collection, and it's not for people who are brand new to Magic.
Yeah.
If you're brand new to Magic, do not buy this. Wait. Figure out if you really like Magic. Mm-hmm. Figure out if you want to have your own collection.
Yeah. Ask a friend who has cards, download Arena, go to a game store. Usually there's people there friendly enough, hey, I've got an extra deck, I'd be happy to let you borrow it. Those people exist. So.
Some game stores also have rental decks.
That's true.
That is a thing that happens. That's not going to be in every game store, but I know that the one local to us does do that. Mm-hmm. So ask around, try to find that out. Also, ask online. Find people who can give you some advice on where to start. That's never a bad place to look.
That's fair. So you'd say 7 out of 10?
7 out of 10.
I was thinking I would also give it like about a 7 is what I was thinking. Okay. Maybe an 8 if you're in, I'd say 8 to even 8.5 out of 10 if this is the exact product for you, which is what we said, you're like brand new to getting into, we're not brand new, but you're getting into Magic and you haven't started a collection, but you know you want to, but you haven't decided what you like to play. This is kind of the perfect product for you. I'd say 8.5 out of 10, really solid product. Outside of that, probably about a 7. Although I will make the final notion, it comes with a life clicking wheel. It's worth every dollar, every single penny.
He's gonna now play Magic with me only in this way.
Oh, I love it. All right, we will see you guys in the next one. If you guys enjoyed it, do let us know down in the comments below. Hit subscribe if you can. It really means the world to us. And if you do subscribe, let us know. We'd be happy to thank you, get talking to you in the comments, anything like that. If you guys want to get to know us better or ask questions or anything like that, and you don't want to use the comment section on YouTube, I get it. We have a Discord, so go check us out on the Discord. We'd love to get to know you. It's a great place to just get to know people, hang out, chat. It's not very busy right now, but we'd love for it to be a little bit busier with you. I think that's everything.
I think that is.
All right. We will see you guys in the next one. But until then, may the rolls be ever in your favor. Peace out.
Bye, y'all.